crystal cry last night, I didn't know what to say.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go through how to grow on Instagram organically and quickly. So basically how you're going to do it quickly is just understanding the algorithm and how to get your posts seen by more people. So therefore, to start off the video, the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually understanding the Instagram algorithm itself. So what I have done for you is I've done a blog post on this so that it kind of goes into a bit more detail and it makes a bit more sense, because I'm not going to have time to go through absolutely every single step of it. But what I want to do in this video is just give you an overall idea of what the algorithm is and why you need to understand it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link below to my blog post so you can go and read it if you want to get a bit more detail. So the Instagram algorithm, everyone who already looks into this will know how often it changes. So even though I'm going to talk to you guys today about the algorithm, it's important to keep up to date with changes or anything new that Instagram brings out that's going to affect it. So just to keep that in mind for going forwards on growing on Instagram. So essentially there's kind of 6 key factors of the algorithm that we want to understand. And by algorithm, what I mean is just basically the sort of machine in the background that works out what posts get delivered to who and what posts get pushed into what areas of Instagram. So when you see on your timeline or when you see on your explore page, images and people's posts and your stories at the top, all of that is decided. What you see is based upon the algorithm and how you sit in the algorithm, which means as well how your posts get seen and how your stories get seen on Instagram is again based on the algorithm. So hence why it's quite important to understand. So essentially the algorithm is based on, like I say, 6 key factors. So number 1 being interest. So this is actually what you're interested in. So Instagram is going to deliver you content that it deems you to be interested in, essentially. So what I mean by that is, what content are you engaging on? Who are you direct messaging? What stories are you watching? Depending on that, Instagram will deliver relevant content to you. A little while ago, Instagram changed its algorithm quite drastically in the sense that people were saying, all I'm seeing on my Instagram timeline is ads. So now Instagram will basically prioritise any content that's from what they see as like friends and family that's relevant to your feed. So basically what I mean by that is commenting, interacting, having conversations. So when you're getting comments on your feed images, replying to them, having conversations with them, not necessarily just saying, oh thanks, like saying, oh thanks, and extending that conversation into more, actually having that conversation and sort of developing that. All of that does play into account. So make sure if you're getting lots of comments on your photos that you are responding to them. If you're putting up stories, make them interactable, make them start a conversation. So it's all about building that relationship with people on Instagram. When people have that relationship with you on Instagram as well, so people are commenting, you're having conversations with them, will get boosted up on their feeds as well. So it's all about sort of playing the algorithm, understanding how it affects your feed, but then taking that into account that it's actually going to affect your followers' feeds as well, or people that you're not following. So it's all about getting seen, which links nicely into how your feed sort of gets developed on Instagram is time. So it's all about delivering you the latest and greatest post. That being said, it's going to link onto another one, which is frequency. Now, because you want to be part of the latest and greatest, and you want to be part of that because Instagram are delivering those more so than older posts, you want to post frequently. So I tend to try and post once a day, but yeah, so make sure you have some sort of schedule for posting almost. So some people might find that they want to post every other day. Some people, like myself, will post every day. Doesn't matter what you choose, just stick with it and become frequent with it. Next one is following. So this is a bit of a, some people might see it as a bit of a weird one, but basically you want to regularly check who you're following and who's following you. It sounds a bit weird, me talking about growing on Instagram, but then also telling you to remove followers, people who are following you. By this, what I mean is you want to go through and check if you have any bot accounts or ghost accounts. So these are basically accounts that you'll see with no profile image, no posts. Basically, if you have a lot of bot accounts following you, it's going to deem you as less relevant in the algorithm, so it's going to push you further. Make sure that yes, your content's relevant, yes, you're pushing content out regularly, but also the people who are following you are actual people, essentially, and they're interested in what you're sharing. It's just important to understand the algorithm and actually behind the scenes of Instagram. It's like they say with a car, like you have to understand under the bonnet to be able to, I actually don't know what the saying is, but you guys know what I mean. It's good to understand how it's running, basically. The next thing I'm going to talk about with you guys is engagement and the importance of engagement. So by engagement, I mean when someone interacts with your content. So that could be a like, that could be a comment, that could be them saving it, that could be them sharing it, it could be them watching your story, voting in a poll, etc. You get the idea. So according to the algorithm at the moment, now I emphasize that because it is again constantly changing, the most important types of engagement that you want to sort of try and push for are the comments, the reshares, and the saves. I'm going to try and push those types of engagement. How would you do that? So basically, if you're trying to push for comments, why don't you put a caption as a question? Start a conversation with the people who are actually viewing the post. Another thing that's important with engagement is if you want to try and boost your stories, mix up your content. It's okay if you have collaborations and you're sharing ads, but mix it up with some lifestyle, mix it up with sharing other people's pages, mix it up with some video content. Just keep it fresh, keep it interesting. But in terms of encouraging engagement on stories other than just views, there's so many options that you can do. So you can do polls. Why don't you do something like where people vote in polls? You can do an emoji slider. You can do answer some questions. There's loads of different things that you can do. So just make sure that when you're sort of planning your stories or when you're doing stories, keep in the back of your mind, how can I encourage engagement on this story? Again, if you get more engagement on it, you're going to get boosted in the algorithm and then you're going to get shown to more people. So essentially that is what we want. So just keep in mind, whatever you're doing, to focus on engagement. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is aesthetics. So I'm going to put a clip in here of my feed so you can kind of see what I mean. Try and think of how do you want your feed to look. Now, some people have a very strict theme, so they'll only have certain colour palettes and it's very strict. So I'd say mine is it's quite flexible, but it's still within, you can tell that it's my post, for example, if it comes up. Now, some people, you might have the colour palette sort of mixes around, but the theme and the aesthetic is that it's bright and airy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys in a clip here what apps that I think are the best ones to use. Now I'm going to start with the app called Canva. Now if you're stuck on Instagram story ideas, they have so many templates that you can use. Canva has loads of different things as well. Canva has loads of normal social media feeds, some social media posts. For example, if I'm doing a giveaway, I'll probably use Canva to style the giveaway banner. I'll also use Canva for doing any YouTube thumbnails, any blog thumbnails, anything like that. It's really good and it's free. So there is a premium feature on it and you only need to do that if you want access to certain premium images, for example. So I would just get the free version and really have a look at that. It's a really good app. So on the topic of sort of stories, there's Unfold. So this is basically, again, there's premium features, but you don't necessarily need to use them. You can just use the free features. And this is really good for doing like sort of collage stories. If you want to share someone's feed and you want to use sort of their pictures, but you want to do it in a more interesting way, that's a really good way of doing it. Yes, a different one, if we're talking about sort of video content, there's an app called InShot. Now this is what I use when I'm creating my reels. So what I'll do is I'll tend to do some clips. If I want to cut a bit of a clip or then add like a second clip in and just sort of basically just play around with the clips, and then you can add images in as well if you want like a clip to go to an image, back to a clip, or just end with an image. You guys get what I mean. It's a free app again, it's just called InShot. Again, talking more so about editing. There's one app that I love if you want sort of a more brighter theme, and what I tend to use if I want to sort of brighten up a wall or just want to brighten up the light colours in the image, what I use is an app called Airbrush, teeth whitening tool, and then you can go over any areas that you want to whiten and it'll basically brighten the whole image. So I think that's a really good idea, and it's actually one that I discovered recently and I really love doing that. But yeah, really good if you want to lighten your image, especially where it's like darker at the moment. If you're finding you're taking pictures and you're struggling with the lighting, use this to try and brighten it up a bit. Another app that you could use, which a lot of people use for what they call presets, is an app called Lightroom. So it's Adobe Lightroom. What you can actually do is if you start editing your photos and you find some settings that you like, you can save it as a preset. So when you basically go back into the app with another image, you can just pre-select that preset. And now every image will obviously be slightly different and requires slightly different brightness or slightly different sharpness, etc. But it gives you a basis to go off of. So it's a good idea if you want to do that for creating your theme, so you have a sort of consistency and then you just tweak it slightly. But one thing I actually do, which I did write a blog about, so again I'll link it below, is I use the Instagram story presets. Now there's quite a lot of presets on there that you can use, so I actually upload my picture as if I'm adding it as a story, and then I will swipe across and use a preset on there. So it's called Japer, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and there's like a Cairo one as well, so I tend to use one of those. The Japer one, sorry guys, I'm probably saying it completely wrong, it gives you that more pink hue to your feed and tends to be what I use to give that more of that aesthetic to my feed. And then I'll just use the iPhone edits itself just to adjust the hue or the sharpness. I'm also going to do a video completely how I sort of set my theme out, so I'll do a few different images in that theme so you can see how it differs from sort of image to image, room to room, depending on the lightness, etc. So that's a really good way to sort of make sure that your feed again is looking aesthetic and to encourage engagement. People like things that look nice. Another thing that you want to encourage is, like I said before, you want to encourage people sharing your content. But what I always think is, like, why do people not share their own content? If you're putting a new post up, share your new post, put it on your story with a new post tag saying that you've put a new post up. You might reach people that might not have seen it on their timeline. They might not have time to scroll through their timeline and they're just watching some stories. Then you'll still capture those people and you're not going to miss them. So that's a really important factor. If you put a new reel up, share it to your story. Like, be your best advocate. Share your own stuff. So I just think that's really important. Like we sort of touched on before, you basically want to encourage people to stay on your posts or on your stories for a longer duration. Now it's very similar to the YouTube algorithm, in which case when people stay on longer, YouTube will push you up in the algorithm because they think, oh, this must be good content, people are staying on it for a long time. Very similar to Instagram. So this links nicely into what we said before. So when you're putting your captions, make it conversation, make people want to sort of reply and have that conversation with you. They'll then stay on your post for longer. Do a carousel sort of image where you swipe across. Again, people will stay on there for longer. If you're doing stories, again, do the engagement on them, make people sort of vote on a poll, sort of answer some questions that you have, anything like that that just makes it a bit more interesting. Another thing that I think a lot of people don't use actually, and I've started using it because I wanted to test this out for you guys to see if it helps, and I really think it has boosted my engagement, is using the location tag. So if you go onto my feed, you will see that my location is tagged. Now you don't have to do this like down to the T, I just do it with the city that I'm in. So it just means that if someone is in your area, someone is searching for example, Portsmouth, they can then go through and see, and if your post has a lot of engagement anyway because you're doing everything else that we've spoke about, that will appear in the top of when people search for the location. You're reaching an entirely new audience there who are searching location wise, maybe instead of hashtag or the account. Hashtags. So make sure you use hashtags. People search for hashtags. I personally too follow some hashtags because you want to see what people are using that hashtag for. You want to see the content related to that hashtag. So make sure you're using them. Now, if you're not sure where to start with hashtags, but you kind of know, so for example, if you have a house like mine, you know you want to do like pink decor, search pink decor and see what other ones come up. It will come up with a suggested list of other ones that you can look at. Even when you go to do it on the post, when you type in hashtag pink decor, it will come up with, say, pink decoration or pink decor home, and it'll come up with all these different variations that you can use. So try them out, test them. I tend to have I'll put it here, I have a notes on my phone where I have every single room, a bunch of hashtags that I think work and are good and relevant but easy to hand. So when I'm doing a post, I don't have to then think of all the hashtags again, think of what to put in, go through and type them all in individually. I just have a preset list where I would go ahead and use that, copy and paste it in. If it's something a little bit different, say for example, it's in my kitchen, but I have Easter eggs, for example, it's more of a food sort of theme, I'll probably change a couple of the hashtags up to like sort of food related ones. So it's something that you don't have to stick to. They're flexible, use them, play around with them. Hashtags really help. If you look at your insights on your post, I'll show mine here. Look how many are from hashtags. I wouldn't have had these people if I had no hashtags. So guys, it's really important to do. So now I've mentioned that, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about insights. So here's how you get to your insights bit on your page. Now you must have a business or a creator type Instagram page to be able to access insights to it. Now, even if you put your page to say a business page, all it's going to do is give you more access to insights and analytics for your Instagram. It's not going to change the way it necessarily looks or works for other people. So it's worth doing it just so that you can access these sort of insights. Now, this basically lets you understand, one, who your audience are, and two, what is so important, when they're active. So guys, I can't stress it enough. I've said before, Instagram will always prioritize the relevant and latest content. So you want to make sure when your audience are on, you are the latest content. You are that best at that time that they're on. So go into your insights and have a look, when are my audience most active? Now, you can have a look at this per day. So what I'll do is I'm going to put a little clip in here if I haven't already, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So you can have a look, say you're like, right, I'm going to post this on a Friday. When are my audience most active? Now, some of them might look like, well, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. they're active. Great. Post between those times then. It doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, I have to have a set time to post and it has to be at 6 p.m. Just check. Sometimes my audience are active around 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. like I said. So actually, I'll just post in that time frame. I won't necessarily post at 12 p.m. I won't post at 6 p.m. It could be at 3:30 p.m. for example. So it's just looking at that sort of time and just being realistic with it. If they're going to be active during that time frame, post in that time frame. Make sure that you are starting off your post the best it can be. So within the insights, have a look at what content does well for you. Sometimes, I think we've all been there, where we're like, oh, I really like that post, this is going to do so well, it's going to look really good on my feed. You post it and then you're like, okay, it's not doing very well. It's not doing as well as I thought it was going to. And that can be really infuriating, and sometimes it can put people a bit down, and it's like to be like, well, why bother posting? But guys, you might love it, don't get me wrong, and it's probably a wonderful photo, but you need to know what your audience like, okay? So go into your insights again and actually have a look at your content, and you can look by what's actually done the best, whether that's over the past year, you want to see what's done the best, whether that's past the week. You say, right, in this past week, what content has done the best? So for me, I'll tend to look at it and see that my kitchen posts and my bedroom posts do well. Now, I still want to post everything else, don't get me wrong, but I might just, when I'm sort of trying to really boost my page or anything, I'll focus on those types of content that I know do really well. So it's kind of just about tailoring your content to what works well. It can really just help you sort of shape your strategy and your thinking behind what you're going to post on Instagram, and it will just really help. So make sure you look at all of that. Make sure you really look into your insights. Just take a second just to get them up and just have a nosy through them, flick through the different time frames, flick through the different metrics that you can look at. Once you understand your audience, you can basically say, this is what they like, this is the time that they're on, this is what they engage with, here you go. Right guys, I think that is most of the tips that I can think of for really making sure that you are strong focused on growing your Instagram page and making sure that you get the most engagement that you can possibly. So I really hope that was helpful. Please do let me know down below if it was. If you have any questions, also please just comment them down below. I'll always check them. Coming up, I have a how I edit my Instagram feed. So I'm going to go into that in a lot more detail. So if you're sort of there like, oh, I really want an aesthetic, I really want a theme for my feed, but I just really don't know how to start or how to use these apps or anything like that, stay tuned, because that is exactly what I'm going to bring to you guys. So I also have an extreme kitchen organization coming up. By extreme, guys, I mean extreme. So it's a bit of a, I was going to say shit tip, but I don't know if that's acceptable. Anyway, said it now. It's a bit of a, it's just unorganised basically. The cupboards just have stuff in, it's just not organised. So I'm working with a local company and I'm so excited to do this. I'm actually probably going to do this today or tomorrow. And then I'm gonna take you guys with me. I'm gonna vlog it so you guys can see exactly how to do it if you want inspo for sort of organising, or you just are a bit of an organisation lover like me and you just want to watch someone organise because of the satisfaction it gives you. Stay tuned for that video. That will be coming up very shortly. But honestly, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you if you made it to the end. I know it's a bit long, but I just wanted to make sure you have everything that you need to succeed. Again, like I say, if you have any questions, just let me know. Please remember to like this video and please subscribe to my channel if you like this sort of content. It will really help me grow on YouTube and be able to bring you more content. Thank you guys so much and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.